This is the Digital Factory podcast. I'm Jon Bruner. This is one of 3 special episodes that we're bringing you this week from IMTS, the giant manufacturing technology trade show that comes to Chicago every other year. We have interviews with 3 people from different backgrounds about what they saw at the show and what they're thinking about the future of manufacturing and prototyping. Be sure to visit digitalfactory.xyz to read the Digital Factory Report. It's an overview of advances in artificial intelligence, additive manufacturing, and factory automation. And it's a look at some of the new business models that are arising as a result of advances in those fields. You can download the Digital Factory Report for free at digitalfactory.xyz. I'm here with Elizabeth Koprucki, who's the Assistant Director of the Fab Lab and Design Program at the Polsky Center at the University of Chicago. This is a center for entrepreneurialism at the university that helps people who have ideas turn them into reality. Elizabeth, it's great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Exciting to be here at IMTS.
So your program is all about giving people who have ideas access to tools early in the process of developing these ideas. What's important about trying out manufacturing, trying out prototypes early in the process?
We want people to understand how they can make something, and we want them to be able to learn by doing and failing, make a prototype, and be able to get feedback really early on so they can pivot if necessary. We don't want them to have to spend $50,000 on tooling and then find out, oh, this is not actually the product that the market wants.
Do you see a lot of people learning about manufacturing as they go? Do you typically see people who know something about manufacturing and then develop a product out of it, or people who have an idea and then need to learn how to produce it?
Most people come to me with ideas. A few people have some background in manufacturing or engineering, but most of the time we have people who have never done this sort of thing and are excited to find out that they can learn how to prototype and learn about how to manufacture their idea.
How often do you see these ideas change from the time that someone walks in with a business plan to the time that they form a company and begin to produce a product?
Oh, all the time. And we definitely take people pre-business plan. I like to say I love napkin sketches. I love low fidelity prototypes. I'm going to set lumps of modeling clay in front of people. We're going to have cardboard and learn how to build things from cardboard. And that's where we can start getting the idea of how someone's going to make the prototype and bring in how it would be manufactured. So does it change? All the time.
We're here at IMTS in Chicago. There are amazing tools that we're all looking at, things that go up to several $1 million for a crazy machine tool. What are you taking away from walking around here and seeing the kinds of products that are available and the way that people are interested in them?
One of the interesting things, I was just at a meetup that was the first time at IMTS I really heard the maker movement referenced and maker spaces referenced by several people. So I'm taking away that there's more connections, and I'm interested to see how these machines relate to each other. I'm excited to see more hybrid machines. That's always exciting for me. But then ways that they can be used for prototyping, and ways that the software can make it easier for people like our members to use it.
I've always been surprised by how conservative this part of the manufacturing industry is in general. I mean, there's not generally been much of an appreciation for people who kind of move into manufacturing from other avenues and become sort of amateur operators and designers and then become professionals from that direction.
I'm starting to see more respect, and I think people from the maker community are thoughtfully building bridges, and people from manufacturing are curious. I definitely have talked to people from the Golden Corridor Advanced Manufacturing Partnership, for example, who are interested in making a makerspace, and I met them when I was at a previous makerspace. So they're seeing it as a way to get people involved. So there's starting to be more perception of the value in terms of, I'm also seeing at universities interest in prototyping for research, and for us, prototyping for research and entrepreneurship. In terms of backgrounds, so my background is not very traditional, and a number of the people I work with don't have traditional backgrounds either, whatever that might be. So my degree is in graphic design. I minored in art history and sociology. I've been in the maker community for about 6 years, a maker professional for about 5, and at the Polsky Center for about 4. I say that I've used my major and my minors in all of my work as a maker pro.
So over the last few years, I would say the feeling about how the maker movement fits in with manufacturing has maybe changed a little bit. Maybe 5 years ago, there really was this idea in the maker movement that you would become a professional by being a maker first. And I think that sense has maybe become refined. People have found that there actually haven't been a lot of promising new businesses started in like tech shops around the country, and of course Tech Shop went under last year. So what have you seen at the intersection between the maker movement and professional manufacturing?
It depends. I mean, I remember talking to someone who said, "Oh, well, I don't get the point. You can't make a bike frame in a makerspace." Okay, no, maybe, but understanding, experimenting with carbon fiber, trying things out, and also this approach of learning by doing and learning by failing is one of the most important things I've learned from the maker movement. And that is also very valuable in terms of a startup, in terms of a lean process, getting to your minimum viable product and trying things. I think that's one of the things I most want to communicate to people. We have all these amazing researchers and students at U Chicago, we're open to the wider community at the Polsky Exchange. So you get people who are very, very experienced in a particular field, and many times they come in, and what I do is new to them. Everyone is going to find something in the Fab Lab that's new to them. My favorite quote was from a doctor coming in, half joking, "Oh my, I'm just a doctor." So she's pointing out that a lot of times people can feel intimidated. So can you learn to use a desktop 3D printer and then manufacture a thing, and your business is you do desktop 3D printing and sell that? Yeah, probably not. Scaling up, in terms of scaling up laser cutter businesses is fairly challenging without your own laser cutter, but you can prototype and understand that hardware entrepreneurship is an option. So that can help. And the other thing that I love from the first time I visited IMTS is understanding, I've built 4 desktop CNC routers. They're one of my favorite machines. And seeing, this tiny thing with its little stepper motors, and then I can see a 5-axis high gantry machine that, is larger than my kitchen, but it's the same principles. Today I learned to use a coordinate measuring machine. And seeing the software and seeing the principles, basically the origin, defining planes, you're going to move at X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh, this is the same thing. It makes education easier. It made it easier for me to learn as a newbie, and it's something I try to communicate to the people I work with.
So how are university Fab Labs evolving these days? When you talk with other directors of other university Fab Labs, what keeps coming up?
First of all, there's more and more of them. Organizations and events like the International Symposium on Academic Makerspaces, the Construct 3D Conference. We're seeing, there's a New York Times article about the importance of makerspaces and innovation centers as a way for universities to compete. Huh. So it's not, nice gyms and dorm rooms anymore. It's what kind of makerspaces and innovation and entrepreneurship thing. People are saying that millennials and the generation after us are way more interested in entrepreneurship, and I'm very much seeing that from my peers and the students I work with. So first of all, there's more of them. And we do all collaborate, so that's been exciting. And it really is worldwide. We've had a number of international guests. I've seen international guests at the conferences. So I think I've said at this point, maybe 47 different people wanting to make makerspaces have come through my space, although I might have lost count.
Awesome. So I'd like to ask you the question that I ask everyone I interview on this podcast. What's your favorite tool?
2 answers. I joke I don't try to play favorites. Among digital fabrication, though, there's a very special place in my heart for desktop CNC routers, because that was building my first desktop CNC router at Pumping Station 1 Hackerspace is really how I understood how all these things went together, and then how ultimately I could teach other people. And they're a little more obscure. Like, it was at a time that 3D printing was big and desktop CNC was just starting to be a thing. So there's a little of that hipster factor. And then also the making that I've done the longest is wired jewelry and cold worked jewelry. So my Lindstrom RX ergonomic needle nose pliers are my other favorite tool.
They sound spectacular. Do you know where they're made?
Sweden, I think.
That sounds like the kind of tool that I would love to have. Elizabeth, if listeners want to find you online and see what you're doing at the Polsky Center, where should they look?
Our website is Polsky, polsky.uchicago.edu. You can find the Fab Lab and all the other amazing things happening at the Polsky Center there. We are the Entrepreneurship Center for the entire university, so lots of exciting things. For me personally, you can find me on Twitter at @ekoprucki, EKOPRUCKI.
Excellent. Elizabeth Koprucki from the Polsky Center at the University of Chicago. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Remember to check out the other episodes in this series, interviews with Spencer Wright from The Prepared and with Zach Kaplan from Inventables. And of course, be sure to go to digitalfactory.xyz, where you can download the Digital Factory report. For the Digital Factory podcast, I'm Jon Bruner.